Hey everyone, it's your favorite Dr. Zora. Thank you EA for sponsoring today's video. I'm extremely excited to announce that I got a chance to preview Apex Legends Legacy, which is coming out on May 4th. If you've been following my channel for a while, you're likely from the Valorant community, and let me tell you, if you love Jett's updraft and insane mobility, or Raze's double satchel plays and showstopper for easy kills, then you're going to be ecstatic about the new agent coming out, Valkyrie. And no, it's not Valkyrie, this is Valkyrie. There's going to be an exclusive, comprehensive guide looking into Valkyrie's abilities and how you can take them to a whole other level to destroy your competition. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and with that being said, let's get into the video. Valkyrie is an agent that specializes in upward mobility similar to Jett's updraft. Jumping right into her passive, we have VTOL Jets. Valkyrie has a jetpack that can be used to fly upward in the sky. You can trigger this by initially jumping and then hitting jump again to launch the jet. The jetpack does have a designated amount of fuel, so you need to be mindful of this so that you're not flying aimlessly around only to run out of fuel at the wrong moment. To get off of the jetpack at any point, simply hit jump again. Once you're back on the ground, your jetpack fuel will begin to recharge after a few seconds. An important thing to note is that you cannot shoot while in the air, so when using this ability, make sure you are mindful of that. Because of this reason, VTOL Jets is really going to be an ability that works better for repositioning, being a distraction so your teammates can deal damage, or for combining with Valkyrie's other abilities, which we will talk about right now. Valkyrie's tactical ability is Missile Swarm. This ability fires a barrage of missiles around your crosshair in a 3x4 formation. These missiles will all land at different times and will deal a small amount of damage. However, what's amazing about Missile Swarm is that if it hits a target, that player will be stunned and unable to move for a short duration. This is extremely powerful for cutting off a player that is trying to run for their life. Stop them in their tracks with this sick move. A cool way to use Missile Swarm and ensure you get the exact spot you want is by first using VTOL Jets. By elevating up in the air, it makes it much easier for you to hit the right area. However, one thing we noticed when using this ability is that the missiles will not land directly centered to your crosshair. Rather, they will land a little bit further than you may expect. We found that the best way to aim Missile Swarm is to aim it further down from your target to ensure the ability will surround your enemy and result in a guaranteed hit. Once they're stunned, you can absolutely humiliate them. Another point to note is that Missile Swarm will stun anyone in its sight. This includes your teammates and yourself, so make sure that the coast is clear before you use this ability so you don't mess up your teammates' play. Lastly, Valkyrie's ultimate is Skyward Dive. When activated, Valkyrie will take into the air and take a brief moment to charge up. Once charged, you can left click to trigger the ultimate, causing Valkyrie to skyrocket incredibly high up in the sky before allowing you to redeploy to a new location. A fantastic ability to use to get out of a sticky situation, getting into the next zone, or to just go for a surprise attack on unsuspecting enemies. A key point here is that not only can you shoot yourself up in the air, you can also have your teammates tag along for the ride. This is what makes Valkyrie's kit so powerful, the fact that it gives you an incredible amount of mobility for your entire team. As a teammate, simply press E next to Valkyrie when her ultimate is up and you'll tag along for the ride. Your teammates are also not obligated to follow you after diving up, so you can stick together and go for a huge hit on one spot, or you can split up and pinch your enemies from multiple different angles where they won't even know where to start looking. If you've ever been hit by an insane double satchel ultimate play by Raze, this sort of flank play will feel pretty familiar and comfortable for you, or it will give you PTSD. The other feature of Skyward Dive is its ability to track enemies and highlight them for you. Once you start bursting up, any enemies that are in visible sight will get marked with a mint triangle. This makes it incredibly easy to figure out where enemies are positioned, and you can decide from there what you want to do to best take those players down or to run away and find a safe place to land. There are a ton of options available for how you want to approach a situation, which is what makes Skyward Dive so unique and powerful. Note that this does apply to other players who use Skyward Dive as well though. If an enemy Valkyrie triggers their ultimate and are in plain sight to you, then they will also be highlighted. This feature is essentially a double-edged sword for Valkyrie since it can benefit you but can also benefit the enemy. Particularly if you are on low health, the enemy could spot you while you're on the run and could knock you out in the air. With the basics out of the way, there are a few unique features and points to note about Valkyrie's abilities that you absolutely should stick around for to avoid getting tilted by an unsuspected mechanic. Through our testing, we've noticed that the tracking tends to be better for your enemies rather than yourself. The user will only track players that are in clear sight, while enemies will have Valkyrie clearly highlighted regardless of whether they can see her or not. For example, we had a player hiding in the cave of the firing range and we were unable to highlight them when we used our ultimate. However, when we were the one hiding behind this corridor, you can see that we could still spot the ultimate while still being behind a wall and not having Valkyrie in our vision. This makes the tracking system much more in favor of sneaky enemies who could potentially scrape by undetected by the ultimate, so do keep this in mind that this is something you should definitely be aware of. Along with that, there are some other areas about Skyward Dive that you should know about. It does take time to charge up after activating it, which leaves you very vulnerable to getting shot. This means you absolutely should not use Valkyrie's ultimate out in the open, where enemies could easily knock you out. You also will fly quite slowly at first, meaning that again you'll be a very easy target to hit for the first initial seconds of the ultimate. Because of this, we want to emphasize the importance of staying under good cover prior to using the ability to mitigate these issues that could lead to certain death. Moving on from that, once Skyward Dive is completely activated, there is no way to stop it. You'll have to wait until you get to the maximum height of the ultimate before you start redeploying. You will be pretty vulnerable in this state. However, if you have cover for the first few seconds where you're exposed and moving slowly, you should be relatively safe, as the velocity and height will make you a hard target to hit, and once the redeploy pops, you'll be good to go to run anywhere. Speaking of vertical height, if you activate Skyward Dive at a higher altitude, you'll be able to fly even higher, which will allow you to redeploy further distances. This is a really good point to note, especially if you're scraping for time and the zone is closing in on you. The higher you go, the further you'll be able to redeploy, thus allowing you to cover more ground. Keep this in mind if you're extremely far away from the zone or you need to get to another objective quickly, then finding higher ground to use Skyward Dive is going to make a monumental difference in coverage. Continuing our talk about height, if there is an obstacle in the way of Skyward Dive, you will not be able to activate it. For example, if you're inside the cave of the firing range, you will not be able to use Skyward Dive. The ability is very good at tracking if your ultimate will get interrupted. For example, the skeleton above this range will also be an obstacle that denies Valkyrie's ability to use her ult. Make sure to keep this in mind in your game, as you may find yourself trying to react quickly and hit Skyward Dive, only to find yourself stuck and not doing anything because there's an obstacle blocking you. Lastly, sometimes you may use Skyward Dive in a bad situation. Maybe you fat fingered it, or you used it and quickly realized you were in a bad position or chose a wrong time to use it. Fear not, you can simply cancel Valkyrie's ultimate by pressing the ultimate key again. This will bring your ultimate charge down to 75%, which we found to be a fairly lax punishment for cancelling the ability. A few seconds and it'll be ready to use again, and since it recharges so quickly, you may even be able to use it again during the same fight or situation that you were in the first place. That's all we have for this video. Again, thank you EA for sponsoring today's video and inviting us to play Apex Legends Legacy. In Apex Legends Legacy, they are also releasing a new weapon called the Bocek Bow, along with a 3 vs 3 arena mode. If you've enjoyed playing Sova and Valorant, or enjoy playing a more standard format rather than a battle royale, then you should definitely check out these additions that are coming out. We're going to make content on these new features as well, so make sure to stick around and leave a like and subscribe to our channel. For more information on Apex Legends Legacy, make sure to click the link in the description of the video. As someone who's mainly played Valorant since its release and Counter-Strike Global Offensive prior to that, Apex Legends was always one of my other favorite shooters, particularly in the Battle Royale genre, and now the new game mode, weapon, and legend really makes me feel right at home coming from those two games. So make sure to check out this new update, as I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. It's your favorite Dr. Zora, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.